Hello, and welcome to this season of Talking Swords. This is my first episode this year. I didn't feel the need to do one for preseason because most of my opinions were already being said around Sabres Twitter, so I felt that it would just be redundant and kind of a waste of time for me and a waste of time for you if you're watching this. So, as you probably know, we are 5 games into the season, and it is going terribly. So I decided to come on here and just talk a little bit about the rough start and my opinions about it, and a little bit of it I kind of thought would happen. I thought that we would have a rough go at it defensively because there's a lot of new faces on the defense core. They're being asked to do something that is, for those who were here last year, is almost the complete opposite under Housley. So I thought that with them being aggressive and getting up ice more, that it would generate more offense for us, but we would definitely give up more odd man rushes, and that our goaltending would have to bail us out a bit at the beginning of the season. But what is actually happening is we are giving up the odd man rushes, especially in the Islanders game and in the Devils game. I mean, they were practically giving up layups, but we're not generating any offense. And that's something that I completely didn't expect. I thought that we would be definitely better offensively, at least in the beginning. But no one's scoring other than the people who are playing with Jack. Now, that is good for the future. I think it's important that this season Jack establishes himself as a superstar in the league. And it'll kind of give us who were pro tank a little bit of a badge, saying, okay, well, we got a superstar based on what we thought was the right thing for the team to do. So it is important going forward that he is a great player. And I think what's most exciting for me about Jack playing well is he's elevating the games of his line mates. And we're now getting production from Zemgus Girgensons because all he has to do is just get Jack the puck and then go to the net with the stick on the ice. And from there, hopefully production will come. So, but the other lines is the issue. And I noticed a lot of people are calling it that we need some secondary scoring. Like, no, we need scoring, period. It's not secondary scoring. We need scoring from O'Reilly and Reinhardt and Oposo. Like, those are top line players. They are paid to score. So it's not secondary scoring. It's scoring in general. So hopefully at some point they do start scoring. Now, I don't think they're going to go over for the year. So eventually the goals will come. So hopefully with their goals, wins will come. And the reason why I wanted to make this video is I felt that a lot of old conversations were being brought back up again. Old talking points about the ethics of tanking and whether or not it was a smart thing for the team to do or completely dumb. And I just wanted to talk about it because I firmly feel that the tank, which would be, in my opinion, the systematic approach to picking as high as we possibly could in the 2015 draft. So let's put that in a box. That is something different from the O'Reilly trade and assigning Oposo and the Kane trade and the Pesic trade or whatever. That's separate. Tanking and trying to get McDavid or the greatest consolation prize being Eichel, that is its own separate thing. So that, trying to get McDavid, consolation prize Eichel, in my opinion, is one of the smartest things this organization has done in a long time, and perhaps maybe the smartest thing they have ever done. Because, I don't know if you remember this, but we constantly would say that we don't have a number one center once we lost Briere and Drury. We would talk about that all the time. You remember Tim Connolly being a top 20 center? Remember Darcy Regier saying that and us thinking that he's crazy? Us trying to have Cody Hodgson be a number one center? Derek Roy? That happened. I know we might not be thinking about that now, but all of that happened. Now we have a number one center who has the ability to elevate line mates, which is great. That's like what Crosby does. So I think that's the equivalent of finding a franchise quarterback. So whatever else happened under Murray outside of getting Eichel, that might be the reason why this isn't going as planned. Now, I want to talk about what we could possibly do going forward here, but I know there's probably going to be some resistance to it because it's about being patient. And I just wanted to say that whether you are anti-tank, pro-tank, and we fight all the time because it's a basic difference of how things should be, but ultimately we want the same thing. So when I say, you got to be patient more, I understand from a anti-tank perspective. It's like, okay, well, I'm being patient. You told me this was going to work, and it's not working. I'm not seeing wins. When are we going to get the dividends and the returns from watching horrible hockey for a really long time? And for me to stand here and say to you, well, you got to wait longer, I know that's tough to hear. And that might be the area where we were wrong. We were wrong in the time frame it was going to take to become good again. And that might have been a gross miscalculation from the pro-tank people. Not everyone was saying this, but I might have even said 3 years. So I will take that on the chin as being wrong. Fine, whatever. But the one thing I know about this league, and that another thing I feel strongly about, is you draft yourself out of bad situations. There's really not a lot of other ways to do it. So you just continue to go after it, and you continue to draft, and you continue to develop your prospects. And just because maybe Sam Reinhart is not working out because he doesn't skate well enough for today's NHL, doesn't mean I have to assume that Casey Middlestat is not going to save us either. So you just keep going to the well until it will work. You will finally start to establish a core group of players that will elevate you to where you need to go. And I think now that we have a new GM and there's probably difference of philosophies with what Bottrell wants to do with his team opposed to what Murray wanted to do, it seems like Murray put a huge emphasis on hockey intelligence. And you see that with Reinhart and O'Reilly and Oposo. And it sounds weird, but it seems like the way the league is now is intelligence is lower. If you can skate and you have skill, that's more coveted than if you are a smart player, which seems kind of counterintuitive, but it is kind of where we're at. And we now have to start to establish players who just can skate. And normally over the summer, I look at draftable players. But this summer I really didn't. So this week I finally was like, fine, I'm just going to look at the high-end guys, just see what's going on. I saw that Svechnikov is having a really great start to his OHL career. So I watched some videos on him. I came away really impressed, pretty much based on his size and just the way that he can shoot the puck. And he might be a player that I'm like, oh, well, maybe he's a player that you could put with Jack, or really ultimately I'm looking for a player who can have his own line, that doesn't need Jack, that can produce by himself. So I was really impressed with what I saw from Svechnikov, but I was like, okay, well, I'm hearing that this is a draft. Like, if you want defensemen, especially offensive-minded defensemen, this draft is for you. So I put on some stuff with Dahlin. I put on some stuff with, I think his name is Boquist, and I was super, super impressed with what I saw. And Dahlin, what really stood out to me was his ability to exit the defensive zone and enter the offensive zone with ease. That's something that Eichel does, and he might be the best in the entire NHL at doing it, close to McDavid. Like, he is on that level, and I know some of the advanced stat guys, maybe it's even slightly Eichel has better numbers on O-zone entries than McDavid. But coming from a team pre-Eichel or watching other players on our team that's not named Eichel try to enter the zone and establish possession. And we've had such a difficult time doing that. When you see a player who can do it really well, you're like, oh, wow, that's like, it's almost like foreign to you that it could be that easy. So when I watch Jack, I see it. And when I watch Dahlin, I see it. I see them enter the offensive zone seemingly with ease. Another thing that stood out to me with Dahlin was his puck handling and confidence with the puck, especially in the offensive zone. He super aggressive, going towards the net, and really great hands, and I was really impressed by that. Now, I was just doing, broad strokes in terms of the draft, so I just really wanted to know what was out there, so I can keep some sanity, like, oh, well, if we're bad, maybe we'll get this guy, how I usually do it. But really, with this video, I just wanted to say that I know it's difficult, And unfortunately, we're just going to have to be patient again, maybe. I'm going to watch this team. I'm going to hope for them to win. Once the new year hits, I'll look at the standings, and then in January I'll establish whether or not I want them to continue to win or lose. I'll form my opinion on how they should approach the trade deadline, and then from there, I might be rooting for losses again in February, which is something probably people don't want to hear, but it is what it is, because I believe that you draft well, and to draft well, you have better percentages of getting an impact player the higher you select in the draft. It just seems like common sense to me. So that's all I wanted to get off my chest for this video. I really appreciate you watching this. If you want to follow me on Twitter, my account is @MattKopnak. That's @MattKopnak. I'll have that in the description below. So thank you again for watching.